All right, man. Crime's on the rise, Alan. Crime is on the rise. So if you move to Costa Rica, could you be a victim of a strong arm crime? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm Michal Alan from TravelCostaRicaNow.com.
And I am Alan Reshaw with Off the Grid Homestead in Costa Rica. And man, I am getting scared, Michael. I mean, you're scaring me, dude.
I know, right? I've lived for 18 years. Crime is on the rise, man. The statistics bear it out. We're going to be talking about all that. But, I'd like to always find out what you were doing this week, Alan, because you have a very exciting life, you and Rebecca, of fishing off the coast and all that.
Well, if you're going to live in Costa Rica, you might as well enjoy your slice of paradise. I mean, if I'm going to hang out up here on a mountain and watch Rebecca hang clothes up on a clothesline, that ain't no fun, man.
Man, no, it's not. So what? You didn't do anything nothing exciting this week?
Well, we really didn't do a whole lot of exciting things. I kind of ran in and out of town. I'm trying to help out a guy on his property because Costa Rica was trying to really screw him big time. And I was like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take the quote. They're screwing you. So anyway, helping this guy out a whole lot, going back and forth. So that's kind of what I've been doing. How about you, Mike? What have you been up to?
Well, Alan, nothing, to be honest with you.
Oh, come on, you did that last week.
No, I know, but you know what? This is going to sound weird. This has nothing to do really with Costa Rica. I don't know if anybody that follows me or watches my videos, I think I've mentioned probably a bunch of times that I love music, man. I love all kinds of music. It speaks to me, spiritual, all that. I like what music gives to me, that kind of thing. And I used to have to listen to a song like 50 times before it resonated with me. Now, as I've gotten older, I can listen to a song for the first time in 30 seconds and know it's speaking to me. Well, anyway, I ran into a song, and I'm pissed because I consider myself a music guy. And I ran into this song by a group called Cigarettes After Sex. Don't get that crazy. So this song is 6 years old. It's called Apocalypse. And I was just like, man, because I don't run into, I like a lot of stuff, but sometimes every once in a while, once every 6 months, I just run into a song that really speaks. And I was just mad that it's been around for 6-7 years, but I'd heard of the group before.
Just now hearing it.
Yeah, and now I probably listened to it in the last 3 days 17,000 times, Alan. 17,000 times is what I've been doing this for the last 5 days. I have this song on repeat, and I can't get it out of my head. And I thought I'd ask anybody if they know the song, Apocalypse, Cigarettes After Sex. They're very ethereal sounding. The guy's got a very distinct voice, and it's pretty interesting. So anyway, okay, I'm done with that. But just sharing, just oversharing, Alan. I'm oversharing.
Well, no, man. I think that's good. Of course, other than just helping other people, I have been fighting crime. That's what me and Batman do. We fight crime at night.
Yeah, well, you do wear black, so there's something going on there. You know what? Before we jump into the crime thing, okay, I do preparations for these, Alan. I spend hours poring over materials every week, so I am ready for this podcast. So like this, when I wasn't listening to that song, I was doing research about crime in Costa Rica. And what I realized before we jump into this is I cannot believe the misinformation. I can see why people are confused, dude. I can totally see why people go, I'm getting conflicting stories. They say this over here and they say that over here. I was running into this. I couldn't believe I'm going to give a couple examples. I can see why people get very confused if they know nothing really about Costa Rica.
Absolutely, because if you look at the news, it's like what Doug is saying. Oh, crime is on the rise everywhere. Crime. And what, so the reality, and that's what we're talking about today, because how much of this is factual stuff or how much of this is, that's fake news. That's fake news.
Yeah, well, what I don't like is what's I think happening is I think that whole chat GPT AI stuff is people are writing stories based on that, don't know, and they're kind of winding up in blogs or, things about Costa Rica. my example doesn't really have anything to do with crime, but it's really quick. So I ran into an article that said, why do expats leave Costa Rica? Now I know why expats leave Costa Rica. I got about a six, 7 list of things. You know why they said they move, they leave? One was limited access to health care. Not true. I don't believe that. The other one was infrastructure limitations. What? They moved here and they said, "Oh, I don't like the infrastructure. Nah, I'm going to leave." I don't know. And then the other one was just safety concerns. Well, trust me, I've lived here 18 years. I know why people leave, and not one of those three have ever been mentioned, except people will say, well, my health, I'm going back to the States. But there is good health care here. You don't leave because there's not good health care here. You leave maybe because you don't have money to pay for the health care, or you might have another issue. But don't act like this is like a third world where the doctor's in a tent over here and you couldn't get the help you needed. So anyway, this was just one example of many. I couldn't believe some of these things, man. And we're going to get into that with my favorite gringo Costa Rica rag on the internet called the Tico Times. And I wouldn't mind starting there, actually.
Okay. Well, hey, you want me to go ahead and pull that up?
Yeah, and then I'll tell you where I'm going with that, and then we'll jump into all right. I think, what I would classify as misinformation.
Well, back to what you're saying, if people don't understand, of course, and maybe a lot of our viewers here, I know a lot of our viewers are our age, and a lot of them may not know what ChatGPT is, and all that is software. It's artificial intelligence software. So to make it easy for you to understand what that is, all that is an automated way for software. If I put in there, what is the crime rate in Costa Rica? Well, then it will actually go to Google. It will search everything it can find on Google, Yahoo, Bing. It will search all this stuff, right, and then it will populate this information. So it's grabbing information that I could have put up on the internet. I could put up on the internet, the crime rate in Costa Rica is terrible. There's 10,000 people getting killed every day. Well, ChatGPT will grab that information. It does not know if it's authentic, real, genuine information, or if it's crap that some knucklehead put up on the internet. So people are constantly using more and more artificial intelligence like ChatGPT to write articles, to do videos, to get their facts, and the facts are wrong.
It's a giant aggregate that does everything in less than 4 seconds. That's the thing, But I think it tries to pick out like the popular, what's most people saying, but they don't always get it. It doesn't always get it right. And I could see that when I was looking at all this stuff with the crime. And but I want to start with the Tico Times, because this to me is the epitome. If anybody doesn't know what the Tico Times is, it used to be a paper that you got every week. It's an English speaking for gringos about what's going on in Costa Rica. Well, I don't know, 10 years ago when they saw that the papers were going out, they're just now on the internet. And anybody that's watched me for any length of time knows I'm not a fan. And I'm pretty sure the Tico. Go ahead.
So correct me, Michael, if I'm wrong here. Isn't the Tico Times just some gringo that came over here? He was looking for some news. He couldn't find any English-speaking news. He created the Tico Times, and he really was just grabbing the news off of other sources and putting it in English. And it turned into a business. Is that correct?
Well, maybe basically. I used to know the story, but I kind of forgot. But I mean, it's if you want to see the sloth pick of the week, or you want to know how to make petty baya soup, Tico Times is for you. It's a very fluff piece. It's only existence. That's what everything is. It exists for advertisement. They make money because people do go to the Tico Times. And they have information. It's just very fluffy. And when you pull up this thing about crime, you're going to see how bad it is, I think. So, but I promise you guys, we all are going to get into we're going to go deeper into the crime after I just want to bring up this Tico Times to kind of tie in a little bit of misinformation.
You want me to bring that up right now?
Yeah, and fluffiness.
Okay, let me bring that up right now. Okay.
Actually, if you can't bring it up, if you can't bring it,
it's coming up right now. So there it is, right there.
Yeah, scroll down. So this came out. I think this was in July of 2023. I don't know if people can read that. They probably can't.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Man, I know my stuff. Now you tell me where you want me to scroll down to.
Well, just keep it anywhere. It's just a very fluffy. Yes, crime's on the rise. Why? Poverty. What are you doing about it? Oh, we need to have more law enforcement. They don't say what the problem locations are. They act like it's all individual. You know, it's just very fluffy with no. So my mom.
Look at their solution right here. Here's their solution. With the right approach, Costa Rica can reduce crime, restore peace, and say, wait, is that a solution?
Yes, that is perfect. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the one I wanted you to show. This is the whole piece. It's just a bunch of nothingness that says crime is on the rise and what's going on. And just no meat on the bone at all. And they do this a lot, actually, but we don't got to get into that. But so again, I was looking at a lot of this crime stuff, and it's all like this, Alan. It's all like this. It's very okay. They're going to probably the crime is going to probably 900 homicides. It's going to be the highest every year. Last year, I think, was 640 or something like that.
Yeah. And so take a look at this paragraph right here. You know, it says in 2022, Costa Rica recorded 656 homicides, its highest ever. This represented an 11% increase from the 588 murders in 2021. Okay. But when you come up here, it's saying that they're estimating, you know, I guess this year of being 850 to 900. Yeah. So, I mean, that's about the only facts they give.
Right. So, and now that happens to be true. I think right now, this was in July. I think right now there's like 840 something. So they think they're going to probably hit the 900, but it literally doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you anything except for people are being murdered and the crime is bad. But where, who, why, what?
It's got to be up here on the mountain, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure I'm not in a safe location, right? And that's one of the things that people say. Oh, don't be remote, or and to the extent some of that is true. But like I'm so far remote, thieves are lazy. They're not coming this far.
Well, it sucks. I want to make this point now and not wait too long on this. We say this all the time. Traveling here is not living here. And I still maintain if you travel here and just have a modicum of common sense, you will have a great time in Costa Rica. Now, if you live here like me and you do, you're more apt to maybe get caught up in a crime. But travelers, I think, again, a little bit of common sense. You're hitting mostly the tourist places. Don't be roaming around drunk 3 a.m. in San Jose. Don't be flashing diamonds. I mean, the travelers are pretty safe here. Matter of fact, most travelers who die here is basically from drowning. Drowning and car accidents.
So it's kind of like Randall is saying here. This style of writing is psychological ploy. It's like you said earlier. It has zero meat to it. And it's a shame. I mean, maybe they need new writers. No, they need a whole new staff. Well, what they need to do is just throw away the Tico time because it's worthless.
Yeah, but the problem is, I mean, as far as like the travel business, the thing I don't like is most people see so international living or some of these bigger places that CBS News, crime's on the rise in Costa Rica, and travelers see that and think they're gonna have a problem with that. They're not. And they don't make that distinction that the crime isn't necessarily against visitors here. That's not the problem. I'm not saying it can't be a problem. I'm sure. I mean, I've lived here long enough to know that, yes, bad things have happened to tourists from time to time. That is a true statement. But it's not the norm. It's not the norm. Right. The norm is it's more nuanced than that. And I don't like that if you don't know anything about Costa Rica, but you're thinking about even visiting here, oh, my God. There's robbers around every corner. We're going to be held up, honey. We can't go there. Oh my God, crime's on the rise. Crime's on the rise. Not for you, the traveler. It's just not.
Not especially if you use common sense. Now, let me give just a couple of examples, okay? And this happened not too terribly long ago, okay? You think and park your car, and I don't care if you can actually see the car, but you park your car and you leave your backpack in there, you leave your camera, you leave your cell, you leave stuff in there. And look, anybody can walk by there and look inside your car and see it. Okay, well, look, while you're eating supper and you think you're watching your car 100% of the time, it only takes seconds for someone to break a window, reach in there, grab that backpack and steal it. That was your own fault because you was being stupid by leaving it in your car thinking that, oh, the glass is going to keep someone from stealing it, okay? No, use, like you said, just a bit of common sense, and that won't happen to you, okay? Another guy, he was over on the Caribbean side. He's got this monster camera, and of course he's not a strong guy. He's tall, he's thin, but he's got, I mean, you might as well say he was wearing diamonds and he was walking out to the beach early in the morning by himself. Okay. Well, guess what? That thug wanted that camera because it's like $5,000-$6,000. He could sell it and at least get $1,000 for it. Okay. Common sense says, if he wants it, give it to him. He didn't want to give it to him, and he gave his life instead. Don't do something stupid.
Yeah, crimes of opportunity with the visitors has always been the biggest issue. And I think Roger just said opportunity crimes are on the rise here. Well, they're on the rise everywhere because of the nasty C word that we just went through the last few years. People have lost their jobs. People need money. And if that laptop's sitting there and I can reach in there, I'm not saying I don't blame them, but I get it. I freaking get it sometimes, So again, if they don't have opportunities, they can't take your laptop.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm a take some responsibility for your shitty stories. You go home and tell people, oh, I got my stuff stolen. Well, what did you do? What did you do? I guarantee you probably did something wrong. Now, I don't want to blame the victim necessarily, but come on, take some responsibility for your surroundings. Come on, man. You know what I mean? So once the opportunity isn't here, nobody's gonna take your laptop or your passport that you left on the bed. So I don't know what to tell that person. Now you live here, that might be a little bit different thing. We could talk about that. We have talked about it before, but I also want to let's put a couple things in perspective that I know people may not know. Here's where you don't want to be. You know where the crime's happening? Limon. You know why crime's happening in Limon? Because it's 80% of the shipping in Costa Rica. That's where the drug cartels, that's where the drugs go out, that's where the drugs come in. That's where they go to Europe. There's a lot of sketchy people in seaport towns anyway, just like there are in beach towns. But there's more in Limon. It's always had a sketchy side to it. And there's a lot of stuff. And it is gangs. It is turf war. It's, hey, this is my territory, and now I got to kill you. So now if you knew that out of the 900 homicides, 750 were gang members from various sides, I don't know, you might have a different take because I don't know about you guys. I don't hang out with gangs. I'm not in search of, coke. Yeah, I know it's weird. I don't go looking for coke at 3 a.m. and go down to Limon and see if I can find some, so again, now you're not putting yourself in that situation. So I just think some of these things need to be said. Who's dying? Where are they dying? Another place is Punta Arenas. Punta Arenas is another problem. And there's some problems in Guanacaste and, of course, San Jose. But they just don't – if they put things in context, people would have a little bit better understanding of what's going on here instead of 900 people died this year. It could be you. I don't know.
So So let's back up a moment because, exactly what Mark is saying. Okay, well, where are these crimes being committed? Well, let's quickly knock out a couple of places of where and why it's happening there. Okay, number one, you said Port City of Lemoyne. Okay, well, why? Like you said, there's a ton of stuff that's coming in, a lot of illegal activity, a lot of drugs are coming in. So if you have to understand these barges that are coming in, it's a port city, any port cities where you got cruise ships coming in and tons of tourists, that's a huge opportunity. So yes, that's where a lot of crime's at. Hey, guess what? What is the most marketed, most popular place in Costa Rica? Hey, I bet you know what is the most popular place in Costa Rica that's marketed the most. I mean, if you know nothing about Costa Rica, you've heard of this one city.
Which
Jaco.
one? Yeah,
Jaco. You've heard of it.
Party capital of Costa Rica. Prostitution,
right.
drugs, cocaine. So yeah.
Prostitution, drugs. Well, guess what? If you got a lot of prostitution there, you're going to have a lot of drugs, okay? Guess what? If you're looking for trouble, you won't have any problems finding it there. So that's where you're going to have crime. And this kind of goes back to what you're saying. This guy died over there. Well, guess what? 2 stinking o'clock in the morning, he was out looking for drugs. He was in the wrong place.
Right. Okay. So the moment it is drug cartels here too. All that stuff is true. And there is a problem with all that. I'm not saying that there is not a problem with drug cartels and probably a lot of stuff that they need to beef up police. Maybe they need to be more, hey, you know what? I think we mentioned this before. I like what is it, El Salvador, that just started rounding up gang members and put 6,000 of them in jail. Just got them off the street. Just took them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you got to do, I know that's maybe breaking some freedoms and some due diligence, but man, when you have a big issue and people are scared to walk in their own neighborhoods, I think that the government, although maybe they were strong arming a little too much, actually made a good call. And people are happy with that guy for doing that. I think it's 6, no, maybe more. I can't remember but just thousands of gang members in jail now. You know?
Well, let's go back to what this guy right here is saying. He says, during all of my family visits, he's over Curitibat, Cartago, Terrialba. Well, they were adamant I parked my rental in their gates. Well, look, I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, would something happen to your rental car? Maybe not, but why take the chance? If you have an opportunity to put it somewhere where it's safe, then do it. It goes back to opportunity crime. Don't give them an opportunity to steal your car.
Well, yeah, they know. I mean, unfortunately, they do know the rental cars, so that's kind of true. But that's mostly going to be tourism places. That's Tamarindo. That's how you parked on the beach. You took your stuff out of the trunk because they'll break in your trunks in places like that. But I think for this discussion, I mean, the crime of opportunity is massive here. But I'm talking more strong arm crime, homicides, strong arm stuff where you get gunpoint, that kind of stuff. So again, I don't know, man. I just think, if you take a little bit of responsibility for your surroundings, I think you can really cut it down. Every time I've gotten in trouble, which I've gotten in trouble a lot in my life and still seem to find it from time to time, I guarantee every time, not 9 out of 10, not 2 out of, every time was my fault. Every time I'm doing something I probably shouldn't have been doing. I'm in a place I shouldn't have been doing. I might have had 17 beers too many and making bad freaking decisions. And that's the kind of, if you're going to be around that kind of people and that kind of crowd, bad things are going to happen. Sorry, I'm talking too much. I haven't chatted. I haven't talked to anybody in like a week, Alan. I'm a little excited. I think I mentioned this on the other crime one. There was a drive-by 1 street over from mine. It even sounds funny for me to say there was a drive-by. It was like a guy on like a moped, and there was a guy sitting in a car. It was drug-related. Right, a street over, which is weird because you wouldn't, if you saw where I live, and if anybody's seen my videos, you would not think a drive-by is going to be happening here. It just, whatever. But it was a drive-by, and the guy did get killed, and it was drug-related. It was definitely drug-related. So things happen here too, but for some reason that didn't worry me. I didn't go, oh my God, there's murders in my barrio. No,
it's time to move.
That was a situational thing, and that can happen. Now, if my barrio got, just it was all gang members and stuff, yes, I'm probably going to make a move. That's probably true because neighborhoods can go south. There's plenty of them that are like that in San Jose, and there's plenty of like them in other places in Costa Rica where most of the people watching us and us would not be living anyway.
Okay, so I mean, are home invasions common or popular? No, they're not common and popular. But let's talk about it for a moment. I mean, take a look at John Blair. He says, yeah, urban versus rural seem really different. I lived a month close to downtown Nicoya, and some neighbors had home invasions. But my home stay further in Nicoya took crime incredibly serious. So, I can tell you, I lived on the Nicoya Peninsula twice, okay? And, you know what? We lived on the mountains, had these awesome views, but guess what? Never had a single problem with crime. We were kind of in this semi-remote area, okay? But guess what? If you're going to live where there's a lot of tourists, it's easy for something. Now, got to mention this, and this is a good time to bring it up. Talking about, at the last, every time we have an event, a relocation event, well, Matt, the owner of the hotel, where, the venue where we have this, he talks about a very, very scary home invasion. Okay. And of course, every time at the end, during question and answers, I always like to bring up, okay, Matt, in your honest opinion, do you think you were a target? Okay. Why were you handpicked? Yes, he was handpicked. Okay. He's an owner of the stinking hotel. Okay. He had people coming into his house to clean up stuff, and so anytime you have a home, majority of the time you have a home invasion, it's an inside job.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, if you think about it, that's a crime of opportunity too, because that's why people don't like to hear me say this. That's why I don't have people come to my house. You don't come in my house really too much. I watch my surroundings because I know it's not the maid necessarily, but the maid went home and her brother's talking to another person and they overhear the maid go, "Oh, I really love Michael's, brand new 4K TV or whatever it is." And it's not the maid, but somebody over, hey, did you just hear that? Or a lot of times there's been home invasions in the surrounding areas of Fortuna, and also Nueva Arenal has a big problem with it because a lot of stuff is remote and a lot of stuff isn't guarded. Like it's just a house that they, may not be in for 2 months, which is, again, stupid. You need to do something about that. But a lot of times it is, I don't want to say older people or people that, I don't know, they're being watched a little bit. They come home at night, they're not really paying attention. They follow the car up to the gate or something. And then Matt, I know that story, and I got to tell you that I'm not saying that's Matt's fault, but it didn't have to happen. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Well, and people are like, okay, well, where? Well, guess what? We arrived all the way south of the border, San Vito, Sabalito, very, very raw Costa Rica, hardly any expats there. Well, guess what? The expat that had a home invasion was the very wealthy expat, okay, who, he was known to have a lot of money. Hey, look, it's all about it's exactly like you say. Was it his fault? It didn't have to happen. I can promise you that. Okay. So, yeah. And of course, is crime on the rise now? Was it on the rise because of the pandemic? Is it on the rise now that the pandemic is over? Well, so this is just my opinion. Yes, crime was on the rise during the pandemic because a lot of people were lost of jobs, and so they needed money, and they went for the easy pie. Well, guess what? Is it on the rise now? Well, guess what? It's on the rise now, but whose fault is it? It's the United States' fault. Why is that? Well, they are encouraging masses of illegal immigrants. Come to the United States, the land of the free. We're going to give you everything. Well, guess what? Now you got herds of immigrants passing through Costa Rica. They're out of money. They're stuck. They're looking for easy money, and crime goes up. So, yes, crime has gone up. And why's it gone up? Well, it's gone up because of the immigrants, the illegal immigrants.
Well, let's clarify. That's one reason. We can't blame everything on the immigrants. And again, you're also right though. So if you're letting in 10 immigrants, it's probably not a problem. But when there's so many numbers, of course, the odds are that there's going to be some bad people in those big numbers. And we all know that it's all usually a small percentage of bad people doing the majority of the stuff, the bad stuff. But again, when you're letting in 1 million people, hello, hello, you're going to get some bad people, you know?
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Bruce or somebody said 60,000. I think he's talking about El Salvador. I knew there was a 6 in there somewhere. They rounded up 60,000 people, dude. Put them in jail.
That's a lot of people.
All gangsters that were owning the streets, running the neighborhoods, going to every, give me your money, and going into every shop. And they just started rounding them up. Whether you just had to look like a gang member, you're going to jail.
That's great.
That's a strong move, baby. That's a strong move.
Yeah, they definitely ought to do that. And you know, it's what Mark is saying. Hey, self-awareness. It's knowing. It's being aware of where you are, aware of what you're doing all the time.
Yeah, it is. And I just don't like people cherry picking stories, because you know what? Looking back through the years, there's been a lot of devious. Do you remember during the C word? I don't like to say. What was that Netflix? That Tiger guy, Tiger King or something? Everyone watched it. Tiger. Oh, anyway, if anybody knows somebody's seen that, you know what I'm talking about.
If someone has seen it, you need to put it in the chat boxes. I did.
Tiger King, I think, or something like that. Some kind of a bizarre guy that had tigers. There was all kinds of things going on. Murders were going on. But one of the storylines was the two feuding. The lady's husband was doing a lot of stuff down in Costa Rica, and he went missing. So, I mean, through the years, there's definitely been those stories. And again, it is usually rich people throwing around some money. That's the problem. That's usually the problem. They see you kind of, not even if you're throwing it around, you're just known for it. Maybe you come here and you're tipping everybody and you got the new car, the Land Rover. I don't know. But yeah, Tiger King. Thank you. It was good, man. That was good. But there was a storyline about Costa Rica. Matter of fact, just a little hidden gem there. I actually got a call from somebody that was trying to get information on the missing guy thing and wanted to know if I could help him. I was like, no, sorry.
Well, that is quite interesting. But hey, is crime on the rise? Yes. Is it going to happen in you? Well, only if you're not aware of your circumstances. Okay, only if you're being foolish. So now it doesn't mean it can't happen to you. You know, I think random crime does happen. I think the majority of it is opportunity crime. But I've been here 10 years. In 10 years, how close have I come to any other than opportunity crime? In 10 years, have I come to any kind of strong arm crime? Rebecca, have we come close to any kind of strong arm crime, any kind of home invasion, have we come close to anything?
They came in our yard and stole off our back porch.
They stole off our back porch, but that was opportunity crime. That was a stinking dude that was high on drugs, came over there, stole some weights off the back porch, and then woke me up in the middle of the night trying to sell it back to me.
Well, you know, when you do crack, dude, I have some... I know some things. When you do crack, you're just not thinking right. They'll wander right up into your house. And they don't even if you're up, they'll go in and go, I want this. They're just not thinking right. Hey, I want to address this because I've done a couple videos and I get a lot of shit for it. Can you put up, I guess I could do it. Sorry. So I just want to answer that because I think you got to remember, Costa Rica is not as rich as the United States. Okay, so if you are going to do things to protect yourself, those are the cheaper options. Barbed wire up on top of the fence, bars on your windows. And you can, again, we talked about this, you can have nice bars, but it's kind of rich. It's kind of rich when somebody from the States says, that is so ugly. Yeah, well, you know what? You got your little guarded gates houses, your little things that poke holes in your tires and key card entrances and security guards. Well, they can't afford that here. So they got to do the next best thing. You just have a more beautiful barbed wire. That's all that means. You just have a more beautiful barbed wire. You're doing the same thing and you just have more money doing it. That's all.
And look, you know, what Dakaru, that advice she got, It was totally bogus advice because there's hardly a single place anywhere in Costa Rica that they don't have bars. Everybody's got bars on their windows, okay? It's practically everywhere unless you live in a very expensive gated community. Well, guess what? Your bar just happens to be a gated community.
Right. And I'm not, it's all fine. I just want to put that in perspective because I've heard that people come here and they go, I was so turned off by the barbed wire and the bars on the windows. Well, what do you do to protect yourself when you don't have the money that maybe, people in the States do? I got bars. I like them. Yeah, I feel pretty good about having my bars. Although if you don't put the bars on right, they can take them off too. But that's a whole
right.
That's
And I'm building a house and I won't have any bars on my windows, but I am so stinking remote that I don't need them. However, even though I am so remote, I will have, and I got cameras right now. So I have cameras and I have a bad dog. So guess what? I don't have to worry about it.
I think John is referencing the Tiger King here. If I think I remember.
He's down here helping me and we're building the off-grid homestead together.
I don't know. I just think I think if you're worried about crime, I think again you've got to put the stories in perspective and don't get necessarily scared of them, but have them in the back of your head that it is on the rise. Probably like most. To give some perspective, Chicago is going to have about 700 homicides this year, in Costa Rica 900. Now, some of the worst. Trust me, there's plenty of cities in the States that can compare to, Costa Rica, like St. Louis, Baltimore, New Orleans. So, I mean, there's a lot of places. But again, take the stories and know that they might be a little bit misleading, I guess, is what I'm saying about where the crime is. I want to go over those again. Punta Arenas, Limon, places in San Jose are going to be some of the worst. They're port cities, okay? The two are port cities. And Limon's probably the worst by far just because a lot of the shipping, 80% of the shipping that comes in Costa Rica goes through Limon. So that's where the drug cartels are. That's where the drugs are going to Europe, coming in and out. Again, sketchy people bring sketchy people, and it's just the way it goes. But I've been doing travel for 16 years here. We have never, ever sent anybody to Limon, ever. Now, it is the Caribbean side. We sent into Puerto Viejo, maybe, which is still, I love Puerto Viejo, but it's got a little sketchiness to it too. But never Limon, but the Caribbean side is beautiful. I like it down there. I'm not saying that, but we would never send anybody to Limon. I'm not a big fan of Punta Arenas too, but if you see it, it's nice enough, but there's some sketchy stuff down there going on. And if you just want to say, I don't even want to mess with it. I don't want to even mess with it.
Well, keep in mind, because a lot of people, I think, don't know Punta Arenas, maybe like you and I, but Punta Arenas is just another port city. It's a very small port city.
Pacific side.
On the Pacific side. So it's just a port city. It is tiny. And a lot of people go there to catch the ferry to go back and forth.
That's also the main.
Right, but I don't know. I would move wherever I wanted to because the stuff like that, I know this is probably wrong, but I've always been able to. I actually can go out at 3 a.m. I mean, I just can. I don't know why I can. I don't know. I'm not recommending it by any means, but I just don't. You can't scare me off quite that easy, really, on some of this stuff because I can put stuff in perspective. I think and situational. But as I get older, maybe I will get more scared because maybe I won't be able to, defend myself like I maybe could now. I don't know, and I think. If you're a rich older person, you're living with a couple and you're up on a mountain somewhere,
Well, and I think what you're saying, it's kind of like myself. I can go anywhere, but I'm extremely observant. I'm very aware of my surroundings. I can take care of myself, but hey, you know what? While I can take care of myself, I can't protect myself from some crackhead that's on coke and he's got a pistol. Okay, I'm fast, but man, it's hard to dodge bullets. So you do have to just be aware and be careful.
I got a couple things here. This one first.
Hey,
I would never try to defend somebody's opinion of Costa Rica because I actually don't care. I still think that's funny. people think we care if you live in Costa Rica. I don't give a fuck. And I say I don't give a fuck just to make sure you know how much I don't care if you move to Costa Rica. But the overpricing just always kind of irks me a little bit because yes, it can be big time too expensive. I totally agree. But again, I'm going to say it for that. I don't know, the 1,000th time. It doesn't have to be. But you're right. The streets aren't marked, and that can be a pain in the ass. Luckily, Waze came around.
That is a serious pain in the butt, especially when someone says, go down to such and such street. Go down to what street? Streets aren't marked, And so, yeah, it is a pain in the butt. However, it all goes back to what you're willing to sacrifice. Because, hey, I live somewhere that definitely there are no street markings or anything. But you know what? I didn't come here for the streets, and I didn't come here for the price. I know that I live very, very cheap, okay? And there's no way in this world I could live for as cheap as I'm living now in Louisiana or anywhere in the United States.
Yeah, I agree. I've never understood why people would move to Costa Rica and actually live in San Jose. I can see the areas around San Jose, Santa Ana. I mean, there's Aurora, there's nice places and stuff, but I don't know, to go to a city in San Jose, because it's like any city. There's some sketch, man. There's some bad places you don't want to be. And Eduardo just said, Leon is true. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why people would pick, a city to go to. I don't know why they would ever pick Limon. I don't know why I do know people that live in Punta Arenas that like it down there, but maybe they don't care. Maybe they got all their bases covered and don't have to worry about crime because maybe they do what we would do. If I wanted to live in Punta Arenas, I would move down to Punta Arenas. But yeah. I would be right. I'd have a dog. Everything would be privatized and secure and stuff. So
and keep in mind also, because when you're saying like, hey, if you wanted to move to Punta Arenas, you would. Well, I actually live, and so this is kind of confusing to people. I live in Punta Arenas. Well, I live in the province of Punta Arenas, but then they got the itty bitty town of Punta Arenas.
Yeah.
So you got to be sure to clarify that, back just real quick back to that whole overpriced thing. There's a ton of retirees live here because you know what? It's impossible to retire in the United States on $1,000. His mortgage, might be $1,500. How are you going to retire on $1,000? Well, guess he can Costa Rica. He can pay $200 in rent, and he can retire on $1,000. So that whole Costa Rica is overpriced or too expensive. Well, that's only because you want to live too expensive. You don't want to make
people.
Adjustments
it always comes down to wants and needs. I have no wants much anymore in my life. I just buy what I need. So again, I can live that way. But I totally understand if people want what they want. I get it. I totally get it. So. Yeah. Why, Michael? Why are you going out at 3 a.m.?
Because he can't sleep.
I'm just not even going to answer that. No, I've had a little party boy in me all my life, dude. That's all I can say about that. I won't go any deeper than that. But yeah, it's caused a lot of issues over the years. But I try to be. I'm in bed now these days, most times at 3 a.m. But every now and then. Might see me out and about, stop by, say, hey, what's up?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I go out at 3 a.m. in the morning just so I can look at the stars.
Right?
That's one of the pros of living in Costa Rica. I can tell you that because where I live at, there is no light pollution. And I'm telling you, it's like almost every night before I go to bed. I'm out in the yard and I'm looking up there and man, I'm telling you, I got 300. I got 3,531,219 stars in my front yard. I count them every night. I mean, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous place, and I don't have the city lights.
I know that. Well, light pollution, people don't understand how bad that actually is. There's people in the city who don't even know stars exist.
Right.
Seriously. Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. But man, when you see them, man, I don't think there's anything more amazing than the Milky Way and the vastness of the universe. It's so, I could see why you go out there, I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, It's just, you picked a good place for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, matter of fact, there are some places that tourists actually come out here so that they can see the night sky. And a lot of the tourists are coming from San Jose because they don't, as exactly what
Yeah.
you said, they don't see the night sky. You know,
We could take a
but
couple questions. It's starting to wind down, but if we want to take some questions or if you got anything
yeah,
else. But I think the takeaway, I just want to say it real quick. The takeaway is don't let the headlines, the clickbait stuff, ask people like us that actually live here that can give you a perspective. I said this, I don't know, the other week. I don't know why people are getting their information from nameless, faceless people that don't know necessarily anything about anything. Go to
well,
somebody you can go ahead.
no, you're right. I mean, that is the big takeaway is that you and I was talking about this before we get started. You know, I mean, it's exactly what you were saying. Hey, if I lived in Timbuktu, Egypt, never been to Costa Rica, I could start a YouTube channel and I can say whatever I want to, because the only reason I started a YouTube channel about Costa Rica is I wanted to see how many clicks I can get and how many views I can get. Because the more views I get, the more money I can make. And I'm some poor sucker off in the middle of nowhere, but I can make some money because I got all this time on my hands to just create a bunch of bogus information.
Well, you can literally, that what we were talking about earlier, ChatGPT can do 100 pages in 15 minutes. You can have pages forever, which is what's happening. That's the problem.
Now, while we've got folks on here, because we're going to take some questions right now, but I do want to remind you that Rebecca and I will be doing Q&A right after the show to, spend a little bit more time in case we don't get to answer your question now. Then, hey, we're going to answer those questions at Q&A. So, hey, Michael, take a moment to put that link in there so that put that link inside the actual comments so that in case they want to join the Q&A afterwards, they're more than welcome to do that. But we're going to take some Q&A here as well. So, oh, look, and you know what? Hey, as soon as you put that question in there, I'm going to let Michael answer this question because he's extremely good at answering this question. So, Michael, put that link in there for people to join the Q&A right after this goes out.
There it is.
All right. And look, hey, and we hadn't said it, but Nina's asking, are there any spaces left for the retreats? And
there are spaces. There are spaces, but I gotta, it sounds so hokey when you go, you better act now because if you don't, it's gonna be full. Kinda. It's getting popular, man. We're getting excited. It's getting better and better each time. People were getting a lot of great feedback to make little changes. We have great presenters, all the honesty, all the good that if you decide not to go to Costa Rica after this, we think we did our job that way too. So anyway, the relocation retreat is coming up. I and Alan are separate, really. So if you are, Costa Rica's on your radar, you think you might want to live here, but you're not quite sure, you want to get the real skinny, maybe get a crash course about living in Costa Rica, maybe that 6-7 day event is for you. All that info, sign up, prices, everything is in a link in my page, but also Alan's page. So if you want to give me the credit, if you want to come to the retreat, come to my page. If you want to give Alan the credit, go to his. But anyway, man, I will say it again. We love doing it, man. Talking to you guys is like the best thing ever. And what's exciting, though, for us is these are getting popular.
Yeah, we're creating some waves because, we truly enjoy what we do. And there's not a retreat anywhere else in Costa Rica because there's, we're creating so many waves. There's other people saying, hey, we should start Costa Rica relocation retreat. Well, they can start them, but unless they actually have the experts like myself that's been here 10 years, like Michael that's stinking been here 18 years, like Sarah Elena that's been here, I think 8 years, people that aren't throwing out garbage, okay, and that are willing to try to help you. And it's kind of like Michael said, when you say give the credit, hey, if you want to monetarily support my channel, well, you just go to the link below and you click on it and you reserve your spot through my link. If you want to monetarily support Michael Allen that has, too much money to throw away, you support him.
No. Forget the retreat. Don't sign up on my page. Just go to travelcostaricanow.com and hit the donate button. Oh my God, that's even easier. I want to answer this real quick because we didn't go over it. Somebody said, is it all day for 6-7 days? No, dude, it's a lot of, yes, there's presenters, but there's also zip lining and horseback riding and all kinds of other fun stuff. So you got time to, it's kind of a mini vacation mixed with a ton of information, parties. I know we party a little bit, have a little bit of fun right on the beach.
Wait a minute. We have, look, we have too much fun. I mean, Michael's out on the middle of the dance floor. I mean, he's shaking a leg. I'm having to tell him, Michael, put your clothes back on. Put your clothes back on. This is not the right kind of bar. I mean, we have a lot of fun.
We do. It was, and the, you know, every group is different. So I get that. But just for some reason, the last group was a little bit more, doing a little bit more things for sure, taking surfing lessons. That dude, 75 years old, however old he was, taking surfing lessons.
Yeah.
People were dancing, people were partying, having a good time. So, but every group's different. We like all the groups. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I mean, it's fun. We'd love to see you there.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the next one, which is March 3rd. Okay. And yes, it is running out. So, hey, make sure that you go and reserve your seat. Okay. You just reserve the seat and you don't have to worry about scheduling, you know, what room you want right now. The important thing is just reserving the seat because, hey, you know, it's like Michael said, but wait, we're running now. You know, hey, you know, you do need to reserve your seat because obviously it's going to run out. And we'd love to have you here for March 3rd so that we can have a whole lot of fun, spend time with you, and just really, I mean, it's really the biggest way that's going to prepare you for life in Costa Rica, and you know, prepare you for whether you really want to come or not, because it is not for everyone, but you know, it is a whole lot of fun.
Maybe we're gonna have to start telling people that crime is rampant, that they shouldn't move here. Maybe we got too many people coming, too many gringos coming down here. I want to talk about. Go ahead.
Rebecca says that, hey, we're going to have to stop promoting this area because there's too many people coming. And I kind of like it that there's not a lot of expats.
Yeah, I think one of these weeks we'll talk about the whole gentrification, gringos taking over the beach type. I got a lot to say about that as well. And so I'm sure we can hit that subject at some point.
Yeah, no, Mark, you know, whenever you reserve your seat, it's a 6-7 day event. And so when you come, you're paying to be at the whole event. Do you have to go to everything? No, you don't. I mean, you can go to just my talk because you know it's going to be extremely good and don't do nothing else, right? Hang out with Mike at the pool the whole time. So, you know, you can
you're taking somebody else's seat that might have wanted to come. That's why we don't really do that. So you don't have to come to all the presenters, but you are paying for the whole thing, because if you didn't, there's going to be empty seats when we could have filled them.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. You know, and you know, I mean, hey, look, the retreat is so much enjoyable, and of course, Shelly's been there. And matter of fact, it's so stinking nice. Sometimes people go twice, so it is a lot of fun.
All right, man, I'm about out of here. I think you guys can get. Oh no, we got a couple minutes. We can chat.
Yeah, Mike, see, look, Mike's a busy guy, man. He ain't just partying at 3 a.m. It's 10 o'clock. It's time to go party. It's time to go do something.
Yes, I have been to Terriabla. Somebody asked that. Have you been to Terriabla? I'm sure you've been there. Have you been there?
I've passed by there, but I haven't really spent any time in Terriabla. So why don't you tell them about it?
No, I mean, I've just been there a couple of times. I mean, I've gone through there to go rafting before. I've hung out. I mean, again, I didn't spend time there. Probably more like you did, but cruise through. It's, you know, mountainous and Tico-ish, and there's a few gringos down there.
I actually passed through there when Terrialba, the volcano, was erupting a whole lot, man. It was like, check out all that smoke, you know.
Oh, like Rhonda lived down there.
Yeah, so she's lived there for a little while. That's great. Now, you know what? Hey, John Blair has said something really good right here. You know, Costa Rica ain't perfect, but dang, it's beautiful. Okay. And he's right. You're getting serenaded by birds, exotic birds, as you walk down the street. I mean, every single morning I'm walking down to, you know, a very beautiful waterfall right here next to me. And I sit there and I'm watching the hummingbirds. I watch the spider monkeys go by. You know, look. When you're trying to decide to come to Costa Rica, don't make the mistake of comparing Costa Rica to the United States, okay? Don't do that. Don't compare Costa Rica to the United States. You're coming to Costa Rica for one reason and one reason only, okay? And that's and that reason could be different for everybody. For me, I love that I got that constant temperature. I love that I am extremely safe where I'm at. I love that I can live under the radar. I don't have people telling me what to do and what I can plant and what I can't plant. So for you, you got to find out what is the reason you're coming to Costa Rica, okay? And, you know, you got to decide, is it worth coming to Costa Rica for that or not?
I don't know. The disadvantages of living here aren't even close for me to the advantages of living here. And I would definitely compare. I wouldn't have compared Costa Rica with the United States maybe 10 years ago, but I definitely would compare it now. I think Costa Rica wins. And I love the United States. Don't kill me. Don't shoot me. But again, not that the whole world isn't going a little south, but I think the United States is on a pretty slippery slope, if you ask me. But so I don't mind comparing the two. I think we win in Costa Rica right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, this guy's got a question. What is the current expat enclaves in Costa Rica? Hey, give us a few, Mike.
By me, I would say definitely Nueva Arenal. There's a lots of gringos down there. Matter of fact, there's so many gringos. They're actually organized. They have like chili cook-offs and stuff down there. In Fortuna, I'm only an hour away from Nueva Arenal. We get together sometimes and we call them socials, but most people are here doing their own thing. But anytime, any of the big places, Samara, Nosara, those are
Playa
all
Hermosa.
Uvita, Playa Hermosa. Those are the places that you shouldn't be looking at, actually, to tell you, to be honest with you. These are the ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of what you said. I don't know why you would want to go from any country and live in the middle of San Jose. I don't know why you'd go from any country and live in a tourist hotspot. So almost every tourist hotspot has a ton of expats in it. I don't get it.
And they're the ones that complain that the gringos are moving in and making things every expense. You don't have to move there. Just because it's the hot thing, that's what happened to Tamarindo. Tamarindo was the first kind of place that got overpopulated by the gringos. Now definitely Uvita's up there now. Uvita's been big now for the last 3-4 years. Nosara too, big time. And it's like, those are the places you shouldn't be looking at. Or if you are looking there, way outside. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people live down there. They love it. But I'm saying it's popular. And I think there's just more places to pick from than those places. I don't get it, but whatever.
A lot more. And when Michael says way on the outside, hey, way is not far. I mean, it's
10
like
minutes,
5 minutes, 30 minutes, right?
True. Very true. Very true.
And you can really enjoy a much better life. Now, the further away you get from a tourist hotspot, then the more affordable property is.
Yeah, the only problem with that is, like the Pacific side, there's really no hospitals down there that are close. There's a lot of other considerations, but I agree. I mean, I've said it a million times. Just 20 minutes from here, there's beautiful properties and land. We talked about the other week. I mean, just 15 minutes from here. You don't have to live right in Fortuna, because Fortuna can be expensive because it's a tourist town. But you go 5 minutes that way. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
And keep in mind, of course, Michael said there's, about hospitals, right? Well, one of the secret, okay, I'm gonna let out a secret. One of the secret places to live that has a great hospitals, but it's not a tourist hotspot at all. Well, go live in San Isidro del General in the Perez Zeledon area. Anywhere in the Perez Zeledon area is just an amazing place where you can still get property at decent prices, and the hospital's close by, and it's got 2 or 3 nice hospitals that you can actually go to.
I don't know. Summer, I think, is over. John, I hope some more.
I agree with you.
It's over. That place is already. I don't know. I mean, people got to go where they want to go, but if you're going to be complaining about it's expensive and too many gringos, and that's one of the places you're going to do it at.
Yeah.
Nosara maybe even more so now. Nosara. Yeah. And again, Uvita, it's beautiful over there. It's great, but man, it's the hot, popular place now. All the kids are going there. They got the Envision Festival coming up in February, which I'm going to be making a video about that. But so there's a lot of movers and shakers, the yoga people, the life coaches, and all those people are down in Uvita. So I don't know. I'd pick another place personally.
Yeah,
all right, man. I'm out of here.
Absolutely.
I'm out of here. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We love it. We love your support, chilling with us every Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday, but stay tuned. Alan and Rebecca are going to be talking, going to be taking questions. I'm going to be getting some rest so I can get up at 3 a.m. Anyway, see you later.
All right, see you guys later. See everyone else at the Q&A in just a moment or two.